Hi, Charlie here. We don't know much about the ocean. It covers 70% of our world, but we've explored a measly 5% of it. What we do know, however, is that there are some gigantic creatures lurking beneath the sea. Some of these gigantic things are pretty obvious, but others are more hidden, and you can even see them on beaches near you. Great white shark. The great white shark is a predatory fish, and it's the largest known on Earth. It can grow up to 20 feet in length. They're said to be one of the most feared ocean creatures on Earth, and they've been massive inspirations in popular culture, for example in Sharknado and Jaws. The amazing thing about the great white shark is it's at the peak of the food chain. This means it has no predators. But the great white shark isn't just feared underwater. Sometimes these come onto land and take out humans, and they've even been known to jump out of the water and attack seabirds. These can sometimes weigh more than 5,000 pounds, and they're normally found on the coast of Australia, South Africa, and also California and the northern United States. Despite how massive some whales are, great white sharks even eat whales. Scarily, they can swim at speeds of 20 miles an hour according to National Geographic. And unlike most fish, the great white shark is warm-blooded, not cold-blooded. This means it can regulate its own body temperature, and this allows it to adapt to pretty much any type of water. Portuguese man-o-war. If you saw one of these on a beach, you would not assume it's one of the biggest sea creatures in the world. But that's because it's not only big and dangerous, it's also very sneaky. The Portuguese man-o-war is actually 3 different species. Portuguese man-o-wars are marine hydrozoans. It's also a siphonophore. That's because the Portuguese man-o-war is a group of organisms that work together. When it's underwater, it's absolutely gigantic. Look below the surface and its tentacles average 30 feet long, but they can sometimes reach around 150 feet. And the largest ever discovered has been 165 feet long. But if you do ever see one of these on the beach, then run and call for help. That's because their stings are enough to take out a human being. In 2018, 204 people in Florida were treated for these stings. They can cause muscle cramps, elevated heart rates, and vomiting, and in some cases even take a human's life. But these venomous tentacles are what make them so gigantic. Ocean sunfish. The ocean sunfish is also known as the swimming head. That's because that's exactly what it looks like. It has no tail. This massive creature can grow 10 feet long and tall. Without a tail, it swims with its fins, which can actually extend in size. They feed on jellyfish, squids, and other fish. The sunfish weighs more than a car. The average weight is around 2,200 pounds, but they can grow up to 5,000 pounds. They also lay more eggs than any other animal. Sunfish can lay up to 300 million eggs at one time. They also feed on very deep sea creatures. They can dive down to depths of 2,600 feet. Because the sunfish is so bizarre, there's lots of scientific debate about it. Some marine biologists actually argue that it's a type of plankton. That's because it appears to drift with the current rather than swim. But other tracking of this fish has proved inconclusive. Whale shark. Whale sharks are slow-moving, but absolutely gigantic. They barely have to hunt for their food because they swim with their mouth open. This means they simply hover up any fish or plankton that gets in their way. They're normally around 40 feet long, but ones nearer to 45 feet long have been found. There's lots of debate about whether this is a whale or a shark. But seeing as humans can actually swim with whale sharks without being eaten, I think this is more whale than shark. After all, despite being so high up in the food chain, it eats pretty small things like plankton and fish. Amazingly, whale sharks are also some of the oldest fish in the world. They can live up to the age of 150. Unlike other sharks, they move very slowly at about 3 miles an hour. But it turns out one of the biggest threats to this amazing animal is us humans. Because they swim with their mouths wide open, they often eat up plastic bags. In some Asian countries, they're also hunted for their fins. And according to the WWF, the whale shark population is dwindling. Lion's mane jellyfish. This jellyfish may actually be scarier than a lion. It is the largest jellyfish in the world after all, and it also has some of the most potent poison. It can reach a diameter of nearly 7 feet, and its tentacles can be over 50 feet. The lion's mane can reach a length of 180 feet end to end, and it's made up of more than 1,200 tentacles. It may not be the more than 200,000 hairs that makes up a lion's mane, but it is something. They come in a variety of colors: red, purple, and orange. And they're legendary on the coasts of Rye, New Hampshire. That's because on June 16th, 2010, one of these stung 100 swimmers. The lion's mane jellyfish is not immortal though, as it only lives for 1 year. And like other jellyfish, it has no brain. The good thing is, they're not being affected by humans or climate change. According to scientists, the lion's mane jellyfish population is booming. Blue whale. Blue whales are amazing and massive. They can reach a length of 100 feet, and they can weigh up to 200 tons. That's the equivalent to 37 elephants. In fact, just their tongue is the weight of 1 elephant. Their heart weighs as much as a car. Blue whales mainly feast on small fish and also small shrimp named krill, but they have to eat about 4 tons of this stuff per day. Probably the amount of fish humans would eat in a lifetime. Because of their gigantic size, they only move at 5 miles an hour. They are the largest known animals to have ever lived on Earth. But according to the World Conservation Union, there's only 10,000 to 25,000 left. Around 2,000 of those are off the coast of California. To get a real idea of how large these things are, check out this size comparison I made. As you can see, they're much bigger than 2 school buses, and much larger than 6 cars. Even 15 6-foot men stacked on top of each other is nothing compared to this massive animal. Oarfish. When the oarfish was first captured in photographs, people thought it was a hoax. But that's just because this very real fish is so mysterious. It is the world's largest bony fish, and the largest one ever found was 36 feet long. It's very slender and doesn't have much detail. This has led to many thinking that it's a dragon or a sea serpent. But these can be found in any waters which have tropical temperatures. Sadly, unless you're going on a very rare submarine mission, you'll likely never see one of these in person. That's because they travel in ocean areas far deeper than most humans would ever go. They normally live around 3,000 feet below the sea level. That's why in 2013, when one was washed up on a California beach, scientists were stunned. It makes you wonder how it ended up there. And according to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, they taste very strange. They've been described as tasting like gelatinous goo. But I'd like to meet the man who had the nerve to eat one of these. Fin whale. The fin whale is an endangered species, which is also massive. They can be 90 feet in length and weigh over 120 tons. They're also nicknamed the Greyhound of the Sea. Basking shark. A basking shark can reach 26 feet in length, but the largest have been over 40 feet and weigh more than 5 tons. Their skin is so rough that if you touch it, you will be injured. Giant squid. Giant squids can be as massive as 43 feet. They're found in the deepest parts of the ocean, and because they live so deep, many debate how many are actually left on Earth. Some say their population is dwindling, but we're really not sure. Some scientists even believe that there's only one species of these left in existence. Giant Pacific octopus. Enteroctopus, better known as the giant Pacific octopus, is massive. Its tentacles can be anywhere from 10 feet to 20 feet. It's normally found off the coast of northwest North America. For example, off the coast of states like Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia in Canada. They weigh about the same as a human being, 160 pounds. But the world record giant Pacific octopus weighed 600 pounds and had a 32 feet arm span. Giant clam. Giant clams can sometimes be 4 foot 6 inches wide, and they can weigh more than 500 pounds. They're found in deep waters and also shallow surfaces near the beach. The weight of these clams' bodies is sometimes enough to pull human beings down, so if you ever see one, swim well away. Sadly though, these amazing and gigantic clams are endangered, and in decades to come, they may even go extinct. Giant spider crab. You can find this crab off the coast of Japan, hence its nickname, the Japanese spider crab. It has the largest leg span in the arthropod family. It protects itself from underwater predators with its hard exoskeleton. But now that humans fish for it, it can't protect itself from us. It's also naturally camouflaged to hide with sand and other marine life. But now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below which was the most amazing underwater creature on this list.